Hello, my Teaserking family. I'm back for more. Um, so I did the earlier class just about the taxes because we all have gold, so we all need to know what to do. The first advice is not to sell it. The second advice is if you have to sell, just sell a little. There'd be no reason to sell a lot. If you want to buy an asset, just use the gold to buy the asset. Now, we're a little ahead of the game, as I always am. So coming down the pike, as the economy crashes, and I showed you Egon in the other video, too much debt, too much inflation, the money is worthless. So as that goes out, and the only way that can be saved is to have a gold-backed currency, which we don't have any gold to do it with. So you're going to need the gold to eat and pay for stuff. It'll be the only thing with value besides the Mantle card and the Rolex, Picasso, and everything else. Hey, David. So that's what's happening. So as far as tax implications, if you just sell a couple ounces of gold because you need the money, or maybe 10 ounces of silver, you're fine. There's no tax on it. You won't get 1099. Nobody will know you bought it. Nobody will know you sell it. Why would you pay tax? And you're really not. If you're gonna, okay, let's say gold's 20,000 an ounce, you sell an ounce. Okay, you put it in the bank. It's none of their business. They can ask you, what's the money from? You say, I got lucky. Really none of your business. You don't really have to answer that question. They can ask it, but I've been asked before, what am I taking my money out for? And I just say, I'm going to Vegas. I went to buy gold, but it's none of their business. Sometimes they'd call me, oh, we need to know why. I just wouldn't return the call. Let me get my pita bread just a second, and then we will go. All right. So gold is back. There it goes. So why does gold go down at about 9 o'clock? And then it's 42.09. Now it's back. So we got up to 42.38. What I like is we held, all right, at 41.92, but now we're holding at 4,200. Now this is just phony. This went down so the U.S. could buy it cheaper at 10 o'clock. That's what this is. Silver is 52.90. Well, it just went up 5 cents. And we look at silver, and it's just more bullshit. It had gotten to 54.40, and then it was like 54.10 at 8 o'clock, and then it went down like 80 cents, popped back up 30 cents, and then went down to 52.60, and now it's going to be back to 53, probably to get back to 54 on its way to 100. Now I discussed, and I'll show you the video again right here. When does it get reported? Do gold and silver purchases get reported? Financial prepper. This is Andy Scheckman explaining it, that the key is if you if you sell less than 24 ounces of either Cougarans or Maple Leafs, you don't pay tax on it. You only pay tax on it if you sell them more than 24. You don't pay any tax on Eagles or Philharmonics. None. There's no 1099. So nobody knows you bought it. Nobody knows you sold it. So that's why a lot of people are buying Eagles, And that's why it keeps the Cougars and maple prices low. But in the whole point of it, who's going to sell 22 ounces of gold? Now, I think this is more for the big people. If you're a millionaire and you bought gold bars, then okay, then you're going to have to pay tax on it if you sell it. But for us, 5 ounces, 10 ounces, 20 ounces, we're not paying tax on it. Atomic, how are you? Good morning. So I played the video. So it's on the other one if you didn't see it, but that's the video right here. So as we were talking yesterday about that, they're not going to do a 1099 on you. You don't owe any tax on it. Now, if it's your own business, that's a different story. But if it's just me and you and we bought 10 ounces of gold and now we're going to sell it, it's no 1099, no 1099, no tax. And that's the bottom line, as Stone Cold said. Then I ran this one. It's on the other video, The Great Debt, where Egon basically says we're fucked. We don't have much time. The 38 trillion in debt, plus interest, plus Social Security and Medicare, plus the government. We can't afford it. We have to keep printing, which it's worth nothing. When you get to that much debt, the money's worthless. Therefore, the gold, on the other hand, goes to the moon. But it's really not an investment. It's protection. And we're really not looking to sell it. It's not to be sold. An ounce or two. You give an ounce to your girlfriend or your kids, and it's right now 4,200. Okay, that's fine. That's what you're kind of doing. But we're dealing in ounces, right? 100 ounces. Okay, I sell an ounce or two. We're not dealing in the big bars. Well, Profit got as an inheritance these big bars. But otherwise, we're just dealing in ounces. There's no tax on it. Because they're not going to 1099 you. And they're not going to 1099 you when you bought it. There's no, he said, Form 8330 or something. They never send that out. So they don't know you have it. And then when you sell it, like I said, you sell 5 ounces, there's no 1099. Especially the Eagles, which is now, I understand why the Eagles are more expensive, because people know they don't have to pay tax on it. So I don't know where this whole tax issue came up yesterday. The guy's worried about his taxes, and I shouldn't have bought gold. I think the guy's on drugs. All right. Anyway, so I'll do that. Let's run this Greek thing first. Let's have some entertainment. The Greeks are incredible. This is like this is like 0 BC, the time of Christ and everything. And they're doing all these, all this water works and dams and all the buildings. It's incredible. Here's one on earthquake engineering. It's amazing that the Greeks can do this.
The ancient Greeks used an earthquake-resistant construction method to make their monuments. Their stone blocks were held together with clamps made of wood or iron. To protect these metal joints from rust, they poured molten lead into the cavities. It not only shielded the iron from corrosion, it also acted as a flexible cushion, absorbing vibrations and increasing stability. But the walls weren't the only parts built this way. The columns themselves hid an even more sophisticated system. Each drum was joined to the next with wooden pegs called polos and wedges known as empolia. This setup not only ensured precise alignment during construction, but also acted as a flexible joint. In the event of an earthquake, the drums of each column could shift slightly to absorb the ground's movement, while the wooden pegs and wedges kept the structure firmly in place. In one of the most active seismic zones in Europe, the Greeks mastered the art of building for eternity without using any mortar.
So why is the Golden Gate Bridge collapsing when they have an earthquake if there's this technology that was out there 2,100 years ago? What are we, 25, 2,000 years ago, and there's an earthquake and everything collapses when they have this? Unbelievable. We looked at Las Vegas casinos yesterday. They're basically empty. Again, if we're running an ice cream shop or a shoe shop or selling golf clubs, We kind of want customers. Little kind of thing there. And, they've chased everybody away with the high thing. Yeah, I'll talk football. Okay, let's talk football now. But we'll get back to this. But basically, when you have no customers, you can't sell anything. And if your purpose is to sell, you need customers. So the last thing you do is chase everybody away. All right, let's do football. Seems like a good thing. So tonight there is a game. There is New England and the Jets. I guess we'll do pros first. There's also college games, but we more care about the pro tonight. What is the spread? New England is 13-43. Why are they 13? Well, I guess there's some injuries to the JETSs. Sauce Gardner trade. The wide receivers out for the Jets, Garrett Wilson. New England's a big number, 13. Do we trust New England? Do we trust Drake May? So I did watch the New England Tampa game, and he looked pretty good. Okay. Tampa's a real team, pretty good defense. It's a tough number because you got to lay 7 in a teaser, unless you do one of these 10-point teasers. Maybe you do that, get it down to 3. It is a divisional game, and we're seeing Buffalo beat Miami, or Miami beat Buffalo, so I don't know what to think anymore. So it's difficult, but doable. I don't think New England's a team that you can lay 13 with against anybody. And the Jets will still play. You got New England, a B team with a 19 defense. The Jets, a W team with the 27 defense. Again, we're just trying to measure the team, get a feel. We got Fields against Drake May. Your teaser trend, play against the Jets, 8-1 this year, 22-4 over 2 years. Play New England. It's 3-1 as a home favorite and 9-1 overall this year. The Jets are 4-0 as a road dog. So the teaser trends come in. Hard to use it because New England's got Drake May and they got the new coach, Vrabel, who weren't there last year. So we're using numbers from last year that really don't mean anything. So the 22-4 we got to take away. We can take the 9-1 this year and play against the Jets are 8-1. But again, you're dealing with a whole new thing. It's Thursday night and 13. So does New England get up and then sit down and then the Jets score late? You got Fields. He'll run. I mean, it doesn't matter if he probably never threw the ball to Garrett Wilson anyway. He'll run. So it's a tough game. Maybe we look at totals. New England with the 19 defense, the Jets with the 27. So that doesn't and that's what's been happening a lot. You'll get one really strong team and then one really weak team. So you don't know what to do on the total. Do I think it'll be under 49 or over 37? Because if they get up 27-0, they're not going to play anymore. New England. It's like in college, only it's like 40-0, and the Jets, Fields will score. I mean, I don't know. Maybe over. I really don't know. New England, is their defense that good? What was the Tampa score last week? 28-23 with Tampa. They played a 51. So they scored 28 on Tampa. So they should score upper 20s. And the Jets, I don't know. Fields will run in a touchdown or two. So it could be 28-14, which gets you over 30. Maybe it's an over. I don't know. I haven't played it. Again, with all the injuries and everything. So I don't know. David, UMass is the worst team. Did you lock any games last night? No, I didn't play any last night. I really don't like playing the MAC, but yeah, I did tell you UMass sucks. They're the Z team. And, you only had to lay 5.5. That seemed like a joke. I obviously should have locked it, but no, I didn't. TK everyone against UMass is a good pick. Yeah, well, that's what it seems like, and that's why I locked Coastal Carolina last week because they were playing Georgia State, which is similar to UMass. They can score a little bit more. That's why we bet against the Z teams. Exactly that reason, David, because you're looking for weak teams, and when you get good teams against it, they're going to kill them. But then you get kind of countered by the spread. Like this week, Indiana's 30 points over Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not that good. They don't have an offense. They got a good defense. But again, that's where the problem is. Now I'm laying 30 points, and that's what makes it tough. So the odds are the countermeasure. So if you get a good odds, so if you look at Georgia State, they're playing Marshall. They're only laying 7. Marshall -1. That's where I got that's the free pick. But that's the theory. Is Georgia State is a Z team. They don't score. They give up 40 points a game, which they gave up 40 exactly to our Coastal Carolina lock last week, free play. But now you see the method to the madness. That's why we look for Z teams. Just like you said, the UMass, we want to bet against them. And it won, right? And the same thing here with Georgia State. That's why I go through the Z team. So let's quickly go through it. You got Kansas State, Oak State. Oak State is a Z team. You got Charlotte, the Z team against UTSA. You got Ball State, the Z team against Eastern Michigan. You have Georgia State, the Z team against Marshall, your free pick. We have Lou Monroe, a Z team, has South Alabama. We've got Nevada, a Z team, to San Jose State. And we've got Middle Tennessee, a Z team, to Western Kentucky. There you're laying 13. That's probably doable. And your last Z team is Sam Houston, who just sucks. Delaware, who's an over team, which I got to study to see if we can play Delaware. But those are your Z teams. And every conference seems to have a Z team or a W team. The difference is the Z team scores like 10, 12 points a game. And the W team scores about 20. They still give up 40, but they score a little bit more. So yes, I mean I've been saying that all year about UMass. I played it a few times, but you're usually laying 30 points. So look at Northern Illinois; they're an under team, right? And they give up 24 a game, but they don't score much. They maybe score 17. But yesterday they put up whatever 50 points or whatever. I saw the third quarter they were killing them. And all you can do is say, I knew I was right. I picked that game right. But you can't bet all of them. But off you go with them. So let's continue with the pros. But yeah, good point, David. We got a game in London, Germany, Spain, somewhere in Europe, maybe Russia. I think Russia. That's why the war is going on. They're not getting a game. They feel left out. So they want to invade NATO because they don't get a Sunday morning game. And I understand Russia. Miami 2.5, 47.5. The line hasn't moved. As far as I know, it's Mariota against Tagliabue. Daniels, I think they get a bye next week, and then they'll reevaluate them. I don't understand these guys who say shut them down. Why? Well, why? If the guy's healthy, play him. I've seen teams who have a good finish to the season who play better, like your Detroit Lions, who were like 1-10 with the guy, and then they won their last 6 out of their last 7. But they were against the shit teams, which nobody wants to mention. So Campbell's good at beating the crap teams. He's not good at beating the good teams. So he goes and he, finishes. But then they're really good the next year because they have the real weak schedule. So that's what you have. And that's the point of it, why I would bring Daniels back. is to have a good. You want to have a good finish, and then that helps you. But you're paying him. I really don't understand why you wouldn't use him, right? Shut him down. Why? So you can see what Mariota can do. We already know Mariota sucks. So I don't get when people say don't play him. Oh, he might get hurt. He is hurt. If he's healthy, play him. I've never heard of resting the guy because he's healthy. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Oh, he might get hurt. Well, yeah, he could get hurt crossing the street or in the shower. What? Just put him in a bed and just let him sit for 6 months. Yeah, that makes sense. Unbelievable, stupid guys. All right. So both teams are W's. Washington's an over with Daniels, but without him, you have to change the variable because now you got Mariota. Now, watching the Lion game, because we locked the Lions, so I watched most of it. Mariota, they didn't stop Mariota. He just kept going up and down the field. So, big problem with you have a big problem here with stopping Washington. Even with Mariota, they were good. Miami, they beat Buffalo. I watched the highlights. Buffalo didn't even look like they just went through the motions. They didn't even try. They'd throw a pass and the guy and nobody tackled him. They just kind of waved at him. Were they really that happy they beat Kansas City that they didn't even show up to Miami? And now they get Tampa, so now they're going to lose 2 in a row? Unbelievable. So I think Washington could be a live dog here. I think they're going to score. They don't have defense. Miami kind of sucks. So I got the game in London. Okay, it's a 9:30 game, but I think Washington's going to score. It's a question of over or Washington. San Diego goes to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is San Diego 343.5. They're both E teams. San Diego 20 defense, so they scored low 20s. Jacksonville an 18, they scored 24. Herbert against Lawrence. San Diego is 10-2 as a road favorite. Play against Jacksonville is 22-4. So San Diego's the play, but we don't like the 3. If we can get 3.5, maybe we like it. San Diego is very inconsistent this year, which is the problem with football. Buffalo beats KC, loses to Miami. What do you do with that? You certainly can't explain it. It makes no sense. You just beat Kansas City. What the fuck are you doing fucking around with Miami for? And here comes Tampa. You've already beaten Baltimore. I think you probably play Detroit. So what's the point of beating KC then and you lose to Miami? And you're going after the 1 seed. So I don't know. Again, San Diego, they beat Pitt. They've lost to Washington at home. I mean, it's all over the place. They beat Denver. They beat Kansas City. But that team's gone. I don't know who they are. Harbaugh's a terrible coach. I will say that because, the year they won it at Michigan, he played nobody. He had the easiest schedule I've ever seen until the last game against Washington. It was the first game that was against a decent opponent. Otherwise, they played Alabama when the idiot Milrose fumbled the ball. Alabama should have beat them. But anyway, that's what you have. You have an inconsistent San Diego team. They're a good road favorite, but it's 1 o'clock, so it's a 10 o'clock game for them. What variable means more than the other? Them looking ahead, them winning a big game, them traveling to the East or West Coast, some injury. I don't know that you can pinpoint it. The game's fixed. Well, there's nothing you can do there. That's why we do teasers. Teasers avoids the fix. So we'll take New England. I would say the fix is in. You can't win by 13. You can win, but you can't win by 13. So they'll win by 11 or 10. But in a teaser, you're down to 7, or if we, whatever, or a total. You fix the game. You don't really fix the total too often. Now there's player props on field goal, kickers kicking. I heard that as an explanation of why Indy didn't kick the field goal, but went for the touchdown in overtime when a field goal wins it. Well, there could be a prop bet on the field goals. I hope we're not going down that road like we do in basketball. If the player really wants to go to jail, good luck to him, but I really don't think that's the thing. I get it's fixed. Okay. Some of them, not every game, not every situation. I get if there's because they don't need to fix it. They went on the juice. So if you get $1 million on Washington and $1 million on Miami, they're going to win $100,000 or 1.2 or $200,000 in juice. You don't need to fix the game. You're guaranteed that money as long as you got even betting. So that's really what it's at. So why, let's fix the kicker. Is that the mafia doing it, or is that the kicker doing it? And so does he want to lose his job over making 20, 30 grand or 50 grand, lose $1 million job? I don't know. I don't buy it. I do understand games are fixed. I don't think every game and every situation's fixed. Every prop bet's fixed. I think only the ones that are really a big amount. When I see a team go from 8 to 12, you can almost guarantee that's going to be fixed the other way, because I've seen that happen a lot where Fresno is playing San Jose State. Fresno went from 7 to 11 and San Jose State win the game. Well, what's all the betting knocking it up to 11? So somebody lost a lot. TK, football looks scripted. Sometimes how can players miss tackles so badly? I agree with you. That's what the Buffalo game was. If you watch the highlights of the Buffalo-Miami game on YouTube, they weren't even trying Buffalo. So, but they're not going to investigate themselves. They're not going to come out and say the game was fixed, because that'll hurt the credibility. But we understand it below the line that it was fixed. And, you watch the line. The line did go from like 9 to 8. And when I saw it do that, and there's no reason, I kind of sensed that it was a fixed game. When you see the line move kind of strange, that's telling you it's a fix. So you keep your eye on that. Well, the mafia fixes everything. They fixed the banking system, right? The mafia runs the banks, and the banks run the government. Hence, the mafia runs the government. Just like Don Corleone, the Godfather, he had those politicians on the strings. They did what he wanted. Who was running the government? Don Corleone. So they're not going to prosecute themselves. That's like J.P. Morgan. They price fix COMEX and the gold and silver price, but they're never going to prosecute themselves. They just fine themselves a little bit. Yeah, we're doing $1 billion. We'll fine ourselves $1 million. I mean, it's such a joke. But China's had enough, and Russia's had. So we got China and Russia kicking out COMEX. Okay, so we need China and Russia to kick out these fixed games. But I mean, I get it, but that's the point of the teaser. The beauty of the teaser is, let's look at Baltimore, Cleveland. Baltimore's laying 8. So the mafia goes and says, Baltimore, you can win, but you can't win by more than 7. So they're going to win by 7, but we tease it down to 2. So we counter the fixing because they're not trying to keep it under 2. They're trying to keep it at 7 and under. So they win by 6, and we're covered because we're laying 2. That's why we do the teasers. And that's why we win a lot of games that you can't explain with loss. I didn't think Buffalo would actually lose the game last week. I expected them to win by a field goal. That was the point of the bet. Keep it under 3. All right. Pittsburgh, 5.5, 49 to Cincinnati. They can win, but not by 5. They'll win by 3, probably. We got Flacco against Rodgers. Play against Cincy is a road dog, 6-0. Pitt, 22-4 in a teaser. Or no, play against Cincinnati, 22-4 in a teaser. Play against Cincinnati this year, 8-1. Pittsburgh really doesn't have trends, especially with Aaron Rodgers. You can't really use any except for the first 10 weeks. But Cincinnati's bad, and without Joe Burrow, we'll see. Cincinnati an over team with the 33 defense and Flacco, and Pittsburgh an even team with the 24 and Aaron Rodgers. It's funny how Flacco sucked at Cleveland because they had no wide receivers. And now you give them Chase and Higgins, and all of a sudden he's an all-pro, right? They're scoring 30, 40 points a game because he just throws the ball to Chase all the time. Chase probably said something, and now he sees them every play. Green Bay goes to the Giants. Green Bay 742.5. Now we have a very interesting thing here called Winston at quarterback. So Green Bay fires their coach. Green Bay an E team with a 20 defense. So they have a good defense. Their offense apparently sucks, but you can't look at them against Philly and say their offense sucks. Nobody's doing anything against Philly. The Giants, a W team, loses to the Bears, 27 defense. And now you got Winston. Oh, my God. Why? Do you think Winston got better? I mean, Winston sucked at Tampa and wherever else he's been. He's never been good. Oh, but he'll be good on the Giants without Scatterboo, without Malik Neighbors. Are you kidding me? Why aren't you playing Russell Wilson? I don't understand it. So, just I think Micah Parsons has a party in the backfield with Winston. He'll be shitting in his pants against Micah Parsons. Minnesota 2.5, 48.5. Now we've got an over team in Chicago, 27 defense. We had an E team with Minnesota with the 24 defense, which I think they've had some injuries. I think it's better. We got Caleb against, we don't know. We think J.J. McCarthy. He hurt his hand apparently in the third quarter of the game against Baltimore. That's the excuse why they lost. So we don't know who we got. If it's Wentz, then we don't know what to do here. Caleb stinks, but if it's McCarthy, he's not very good either. How they beat the Lions, I don't know. I can't imagine that game. So you got Detroit losing at home to Minnesota. You got Buffalo losing at Miami against a Z team. It's like really, it's a strange league right now. It's very too much gambling involved. You can't really. It's harder to read right now. By now, it should be a piece of cake. Boom! Here's 10 games. I go 9-1. So what do you do? Well, we'll see who the quarterback is. Houston at Tennessee. Houston 6.5, 37.5, down from 7.5 for some reason, down from 39.5. We got Mills against Ward. We got Houston, a B team with a 17 defense. It was a 15 defense. Tennessee, a Z team with the 29. So I believe play Houston in the last 2 years, 25-3. Play against Tennessee, 23-3. But you really can't use it because Ward's just there, but you could. Play against Tennessee as a home dog, 7-0. Play against Tennessee, 8-1. Play against Tennessee as a road dog, 4-0. And Houston's 9-0 in a teaser this year. Houston, 25-3 for 2 years, 9-0 this year. You can use it all because it's Stroud and the coach have been there. So you didn't really get a lot of variables in the defense. So they got the tough defense. Total, I don't know. Mills, I don't know. They scored 100 points last week with Jacksonville. What the fuck was that? I don't get how a team like Houston can play in a high-scoring game. I mean, with that defense. I don't love their coach. Stroud's terrible. I don't know if Mills is better or not. And you're going against Ward. Now, Stroud's in concussion protocol, so he's out. So you're basically betting the Houston defense. You'd think this would be a low-scoring game because Mills isn't going to score a lot and the defense will shut him out. But I don't know what happened with Jacksonville last week. All right, a lot of turnovers. So Houston's defense might score enough. Tampa and Buffalo, game of the day. Buffalo 5.5, 48. Number hasn't moved. Baker against Allen, great matchup. Tampa, an E team with the 23 defense. Buffalo, a B team with the 22 defense. Which Buffalo team shows up? The one that beat KC or the one that lost to Miami? No, they'll be pissed that they lost last week. They played very good at home, Buffalo. Tampa's 23-4 the last 2 years in a teaser, 6-1 as a road dog. Buffalo is 10-2 as a home favorite. This year, they're 3-0 if you get against them as a home favorite this year. So you Tampa, good road dog and good in a teaser, 23-4. So should be an excellent game. This is a 1:00 game. That'll be the CBS game. We get to watch Tony Romo mumble through his shit. Carolina goes to Atlanta. Atlanta 3.5, 42.5. Hasn't moved. We got Young against Penix. Carolina, an under team with the 22 defense. So their defense got better this year, or they're playing such shit teams that's the other thing. Atlanta, an under team, 23 defense. Again, lost in overtime in London last week. So they have, you got a little jet lag, but they are at Atlanta, and it is East Coast to London. So it's not like they're in Denver playing the London game and coming home. So it's about a 7-hour flight. They got to fly like from across the ocean, and then they got to fly up to Atlanta. I took that flight once. So I don't know. Atlanta losing. Atlanta's 3-6, but they're a good 3-6 team. With Penix, they're a better team. They lost to Carolina 30-0. So I think Atlanta should be a good play here. Frisco goes to Arizona. Frisco 2.5, 48.5. That's key. So it was 3, goes to 2.5. That opens up taking Frisco plus 3.5. And the total 48.5. We got, it looks like Mac Jones against Brissett. Frisco, an E team with the 23 defense. So they're not scoring as much as they usually do because they don't have any receivers, and Mac Jones sucks. On the other hand, Arizona is also an E team with the 24 defense with Brissett. Kyler Murray, he won't be there next year. Brissett will probably be their quarterback. In a teaser, we got Frisco 3-0 is a road favorite. Play against Arizona as a home dog 8-1, and then Arizona this year is a home dog 5-0. They always seem to play close games at home. It's what can I say? Frisco is what 6-4, Arizona 3-6. So Frisco needs the game to, at least for the wild card. They seem to be still able to win, although we had the Rams big against them last week. Speaking of the Rams, we got Seattle and LA. They're both 7-2. LA 3-48.5. Both A teams, 19 defenses. Darnell against Stafford, big edge to Stafford. The Rams 24-4 in the teaser since last year, all last year plus this year. 8-1 this year. Seattle 6-1 as a road dog. Play against the Rams as a home favorite, 6-1, and Seattle is 8-1 in a teaser this year. That's sort of the macro approach, and then we look, how are they as a road dog? However, because it's Darnold, we can only use this year with them. With the Rams, since it's Stafford and whatchamacallit, Sean McVay, we can use last year's, and it's 24-4. Rams are at home. This should be a very good game. This is very tease the doggable, and maybe a total. 19 defense, 17, but they both score some points. All right. KC and Denver, big game. KC 3.5 was 4.45. KC's an A team with an 18 defense. Denver's a B team with a 17 defense. People don't understand the defense. Denver's got an excellent defense, but everybody just ignores it. Well, it's Bo Nix. Yeah, well, he's fine. Mahomes against Knicks. Denver 13-0 at home. Enough said. 28-2 last year and this year, which we can use. We got Sean Payton and Bo Nix last year and this year. 28-2, and they're 10-0 this year in a teaser. Denver's 10-0. I mean, this is the trend. I mean, will KC win? I don't know. Denver plays. Okay, Denver kind of sleepwalks a few games, right? Denver will play with passion this game. This is a game they know they have to win. They have to beat KC. They are 8-2 and KC's 5-4, but they can knock KC 5-5 and they go 9-2. They're going to win their division, make the playoffs, maybe have a number one seed as Buffalo and Baltimore. Baltimore ain't getting it. Buffalo keeps losing to Miami. They're not getting it. Buffalo's got Tampa Bay. They'll be lucky to win that one. So I think Denver's a very live dog in this game. Baltimore, Cleveland is our free game. Baltimore is 7.5. I've seen some 7s. 39.5 total. We'll just leave it at 40. Baltimore an over team with the 26 defense. That's what worries me is their defense isn't as good, but they got some players back. Cleveland a W team with the 23. They don't score. Gabriel. Flacco couldn't do anything. Gabriel. And then Lamar. He's questionable with a knee again or a back or something. He didn't practice yesterday. So he's playing injured. And I'll make this point. Yes, we know every game's fixed. However, we also know every player that I've just talked about is injured, right? Bo Nix is injured. Mahomes is injured. They're all injured at some point. It's just how severe is the injury. Baltimore 11-2 is a road favorite, so they play very well as a road favorite. Here they're Cleveland. Baltimore's 4-5. They need the game. They got to catch Pittsburgh. They're not going to be a wild card, right? You got KC, you got San Diego, you got New England and Buffalo. So they're in big trouble as far as wild card. So they have to win this game. So there shouldn't be the letdown. They're only 4-5. There's not going to be a letdown here. So if Lamar plays, this is our free pick. Lamar should play. They said they think he's okay. They just gave him a day off in practice, but he's a little banged up, but he'll play. He's got to play. Detroit at Philly. Philly 2.5, 46.5, down from 48.5. People watched the Monday night game and saw how Philly shut down Green Bay. They know Detroit cannot play against a good defense. This year, play against Philly, you're 8-1, which is weird. But Philly is 12-3 as a home favorite. I do not like Detroit here because they're not going to be able to move the ball. We've seen them in 3 games against good defenses, and they got killed by Green Bay, Minnesota, and Kansas City. They beat Baltimore, but Baltimore does not have a good defense. So it looks better than it is. Philly, great defense. They showed it against Green Bay last week. They'll show it again this week. They can't stop the tush push, which is the big edge for Philly. The problem is you can't call the illegal motions, and if he fumbles, he's down. I mean, it's really weird. But I like Philly is what? They're 7-2 on top of the division. Detroit 6-3. So this is like we got to keep Detroit from being the 1 seed. But this is where Detroit's going to struggle is in this type of game. With this kind of defense, all the Georgia boys, look out. I do not like Detroit in 8. Now the question is, do I take Philly? Do I take total? I don't know. But as I tried to explain last week, Detroit lost to Minnesota, but I locked them against Washington because Washington had a 27 defense. So Detroit, and they never punted in the game against the 27 defense. You got a 21 defense, Philadelphia, who's going to be aroused, and they're going to come to play. They want to put the Lions in their place. So look for Philly to be motivated. Look for Buffalo to be motivated. Look for Kansas City and Denver to be motivated. These big games, you're going to get them motivated. Will Seattle and the Rams, they're going to come to play. That's what we like about these games. Dallas and Oakland, is Dallas going to be motivated to beat Oakland? Probably not. That's where it's screwy, right? You see a good game, Detroit, Philly, and Buffalo, Tampa, and KC, Denver, and then you get Oakland. What the fuck? You get Oakland and Dallas. All right, so that's Detroit, Dallas, and Oakland. Dallas 3.5, 50.5. Dallas the over team with the 31 defense, and Oakland a Z team with the 24 defense. I'll start looking at the last 5 to really get who these teams are. But we see Dallas with the 31 defense, Oakland at 24. Dak against Geno Smith. Play against Oakland as a home dog is 7-1. So the play here is Dallas. Normally we play Dallas over. Somehow they played Arizona 27-17. The other problem is all these let's go for it on 4th down crap. You keep going for it. You don't get it. They don't get that you should be getting the points. And then you lose by a field goal and you go, well, shit, if I would have kicked the field goal and I had the ball at the 5-yard line, instead of going for it and not getting it, I would have won the game. But somehow these coaches are too stupid. Big teaser trends. New England is 22-4 in a teaser, but really it's hard to use it because maybe this is the Jets. Play against the Jets 22-4. But the problem with it is it's really, you got a new coach, you got Fields, so it's pretty much consistent. San Diego is play against Jacksonville 22-4 in a teaser, which you can use. Let's see. Play against Cincinnati 22-4 in a teaser. Play Minnesota 22-5 in a teaser. Take Houston 25-3 in a teaser. Tampa Bay 23-4 in a teaser. Take the Rams 24-4 in a teaser. Denver 10-0 in a teaser, 28-2 with Bo Nix. Baltimore 11-2 is a road favorite. Philly 12-3 is a home favorite, and play against Oakland as a home dog 7-1. So I keep doing that every week, and we keep watching Houston win and LA win and Tampa win. Tampa lost last week. I ended up playing it over because I didn't like it, and I watched the game, and I should not have won, but with 2 minutes left, New England scored, and then with 30 seconds left, Tampa scored. And I got my over, but I just watched the score, and the score was, oh, it's an over. Okay. But when you watch the game, it's amazing how much bullshit is scored in the last 2 minutes of the half and of the game. It's like the defensive coordinators don't exist. All right, let's go to the college. So we know Northern Illinois killed UMass. We should call them Old Mass. So we've got 4 or 5 really good pro games. Now let's look at the 4 or 5 really good college games. So let's look at the scores. Northern Illinois 45-3. The Z team played like a Z team. No offense, no defense. Toledo 24-3 over Miami of Ohio. Toledo, the A team, they were laying 4, so you didn't have to lay anything. Central Michigan wins 38-19. Buffalo, kind of a weaker team. Talking about teasers, so let's look at the Toledo game. Toledo minus 4.5. So my argument is I'll tease them and get 1.5, so I don't have to lay any points. Now, in my mind, and what I teach you is you're getting away from laying the points. So even though you don't have to lay 4.5, you're worried about over 3 and 3.5. And so we take the 1.5, not because it's a key number, but it keeps us away from laying 3 or 4. All we got to do is win. Now we're so advanced, most people can't comprehend what we're doing. Also a lot of frustration. It's not a key. I've been told it's not a key number. You've got to get it over 3. Don't bet it. I'll take the money line. Well, the money line odds are crap. Who knows what the real money line odds are? But I say tease it. It avoids the laying the 3.5, 4, 4.5. You avoid that. So now it's just Toledo wins. Oh, Toledo won 24-3. Again, we got to make the bet before the game, not after. So you have this where Toledo 24-3, and we did lay 4.5. Now, if we knew it was going to be 24-3, we would have laid 4.5. But we don't, and that's the point of the teaser. It gets you out of that 3. You're not laying 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, even if it's 5. If you just want to take the game even, I'd rather play a teaser than play money line. Money line, you're getting fucked on. So that's the point. So the guy's arguing with me, well, it's not a key number, and I go, you missed the whole point. The point is to get away from the 4.5, not necessarily you getting because he wouldn't have played the game because Toledo was getting 1.5. We would have played the game because we like Toledo to win because they're the A team, and they win 24-3. So we're right. We took the 4.5 out. We had 1.5. We don't care. We're just trying to avoid, like when you go from 8 to 2. It's not that you're trying to get away from over the touchdown. You're trying to get it under a field goal. We do it with 15 down to 9. We're not laying the 10. It's not necessarily that 9's a good number or 2's a good number. -2, you go -8 to -2. It's a much better number than the 8. You're avoiding the 8 and the 7.5s and the 7s. And when you tease up from 2 to 8, it's the same thing. Now I can lose by a touchdown. Well, my odds have increased 60, 70% if I go from 2 to 8 than sitting at 2. So, I mean, that's it. But I will go from 4 to 2 all day if I feel that I have the good team, but I don't want to lay 4 like a Toledo. Well, any A team playing a E team, I'll do that all day if I like the A team. All right. So those are your key scores from yesterday. Today we have one game. Troy goes on against Old D. Old D 10.5, 52.5, down from 53.5. We got Troy, an E team with the 24. We got Old D, a B team with the 23. Old D was hot, and then they kind of cooled down. We'll have to check that if you're interested. Old D 10.5. So I would tease it to get under 10, to get under 7. I'll lay 4.5. It's not a good number, but it's better than 10. It's better than 9. It's better than 8 and 7 and 6. I am avoiding all those bad numbers by 4.5, but 4.5 doesn't really help me with 3, but it helps me with 6, 7, and 10. And that's the point of it. Troy, we'll see, an E team with the 24. Old D, a B team at home, laying 10.5, 52.5. Maybe you go over in the game. I don't know. All right. Tomorrow night, Clemson, Louisville. I'm not going to do every game. We'll just do the bigger games, but we'll do all the games tomorrow. Well, tomorrow there's 2. Louisville, 3, 51.5. God, this was 51.5, went to 49.5, and now it's back to 51.5. Clemson's an E team with a 22. Quarterback Klubnik, what happened to him? Probably had an easy schedule last year and probably had a wide receiver who graduated. Louisville, an A team with the 21. They did beat Miami. I don't know. This is the place I'd be taking Louisville to beat Clemson. Clemson's got enough good players, but they are pretty bad. But I like betting against them as the dog. And Minnesota, Oregon, 25.5, 44.5. Minnesota, an under team with a 21 defense. Oregon, an A team with a 13 defense. So they played Penn State 17-17. Then it goes to overtime. They played Indiana 30-20. And they played Iowa last week 18-16. So they play pretty good. Now, Minnesota, very strong defense. The game's in Oregon. I don't know about the 25, but I do, maybe it's an under because you got good defense. It's tough because Oregon at home is a little different than Oregon at Iowa or at Penn State or against Indiana. So they are vulnerable against good defenses. Minnesota's got a good defense. All right, Saturday, Notre Dame, Pitt, Notre Dame, 12.5, 55.5. Notre Dame, an A team with the 19 defense. Pitt, an A team with the 21. They've Eli Horstein or whatever their quarterback. I guess he got hurt. They got a new guy. He's pretty good, so that's not killing them. Notre Dame's played some high-scoring games, and then they kind of shut down Arkansas, and they kind of shut down Boise. A&M put up 40 on them. Miami played a high-scoring game with them. USC, 34-24. So their defense is getting better. Pitt, now, Notre Dame is not at home. Jesus won't be in the crowd, so they got to be careful with that. Pitt, the home team in this game, they'll be very much on fire. The crowd will be very much on fire. All the big Notre Dame games, they lost at Miami. They did beat USC. A&M, they lost at home. So they're susceptible to a good quarterback. USC put them 24 on them. So we'll see here, but I don't know that Notre Dame is going to crush Pitt. I don't think that's going to happen. Wisconsin, Indiana, 29.5, 44.5, hasn't moved. Wisconsin, an under team, as we know, at 22. They got their win over Washington last week. So they have a very strong defense. No offense. Indiana, an A team, which I question, with the 12 defense. Their game plan against Penn State was horrible. Ohio State beat Penn State by it was like 38-14 or something, because they 52 to us and we were 51. And in this instance, you got, they didn't do anything on Penn State, right? They let them in the game and should have lost the game. Here you got Wisconsin now. Wisconsin has no offense, so they should crush them. I don't like the line. It's really high. But I do, maybe, I don't know, 44.5. It could go either way because Indiana can score, but I don't think they're going to score that much on Wisconsin. Wisconsin, a real, they played Ohio State, I think 24 to nothing or something. So again, Wisconsin being an under team, and Indy's got a great defense. I don't think Wisconsin scores, and it's 44.5. You can go under 50. You could go over 38, but I don't think this is a game Indiana puts up 50 like they did against Illinois. I think this is more of an Indiana-Iowa game or Indiana-Penn State game. It's touch and go. I think the number's a little low, but only because Wisconsin has a good defense and doesn't score. So we'll see if Indiana can run the ball, which I don't think they will be able to. Indiana's defense should shut down Wisconsin. Again, they have a 12 defense, so I don't know. I'm thinking of the play as I'm talking, of course. Air Force UConn. Air Force is playing different. They were an over team, and all of a sudden they start running the ball more, and they're playing a low-scoring game to Army, which you expect. A low-scoring game to San Jose State, which you didn't expect. So here you got UConn 6.5, 63.5, and I'm going, there's no way this game goes over. Because if Air Force is going to run Navy football and, run their option, the whole second quarter, Air Force is going to go on a 20-play, 99-yard drive. You're almost better off giving Air Force the ball to 50. Otherwise, they're going to just eat the clock all the way down the field. I don't see how this game can go to 63.5. UConn's good, but Air Force, they shut down San Jose State to 16 points, which was mostly on they kept the ball. So they really play good defense. They just kept the ball in offense. The Lions did that to Washington last week. They just went on long drives, so they never got the ball. But when Washington got it, they moved on them. So I don't know if Air Force is going to keep playing this game, which they probably will. There's no way this game can go over. All right. Michigan and Northwestern, another probably a low-scoring game. Michigan is 12.5 now, up from 11.5. And 41.5, that's still the total. Michigan, a B team, 17 defense. Northwestern, an under team with the 19 defense. Wrigley Field, who gives a shit? That's for baseball. Why don't they play at Tiger Stadium or something like that? Or go, I don't know. I don't know, Michigan, they get these runs every once in a while where the guy breaks it and goes 60 yards. I never seen anything like it. They break one or two a game. Northwestern, an under team, both pretty good defenses. I can't imagine a lot of points here. I'd be surprised. But it's a little low number. It's like, I want to where I'm under 50 and it's only 41.5, 47.5. And it does make a difference, but you want to, it's like the over. If it's 75, I'm not playing it. But if it's 65, I will. So I want to, same thing here. If it's in the 30s, I don't want to play it under, but anything in the 40s, I usually can if I see the right matchup. And that Michigan quarterback is nothing. They wasted $1 million if that's real, which I doubt. I don't buy it. I'd want my money back. Or since it's the donors, they just don't pay him. They did that with the Vegas kid. He sucked. They didn't pay him. UTSA Charlotte. Do we tease against the Z team? UTSA is now 18.5, 58.5. was 17.5. UTSA an over team, 33 defense. Charlotte, the Z team, 38. UTSA should score. They haven't been scoring the way they did last year. I'm noticing that with Texas State, UTSA. North Texas seems to score a lot. South Florida seems to score a lot. Arkansas, Tennessee. So there's over teams, but UTSA, I got to look at that. There's been a couple of games they haven't done much, but here's Charlotte who gives up 50 points a game, 38, but basically 50. Again, you're laying 18, so it seems high, but then when you see the final and it's 42-3, you go, yeah, that makes sense. So keep our eye on that game. South Florida Navy, both over teams. South Florida is 10 and 64.5. Navy's quarterback, an hour before the game with Notre Dame says, I'm not playing. Really? Oh, okay. So therefore, is he playing this week? Or is he going to pull the same bullshit? Well, if he pulls the same bullshit, I like South Florida. If he actually plays, maybe it's an over game. So we have to see. I'll check Google for that one. Arizona, Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 6. It's a lot of good games this week. Cincinnati 656.5. Arizona, an A team, 20 defense. Cincy, an A team, 22 defense. They both have good quarterbacks, so we'll see. South Carolina goes to Texas A&M. A&M 19.5, 48.5. South Carolina, an under team. Norris is doing nothing this week, 22 defense. A&M blown out everybody, an over team with the 22 defense. So they're scoring like 45 points a game, and they give up 22. They're probably an A team, but because they score so much, I called them an over team. Because they're really not. They're an A team in a sense, but we see them scoring so much that we really want to think of them as an over team. Great quarterback. They just score and score and score. South Carolina, decent defense, but the game's at A&M. South Carolina, Norris isn't doing anything. He had a good game against Alabama, and that's about it. We'll see here. It's a big number depending. If A&M gets rolling, it's not. Now, they played Arkansas, a tight game at Arkansas, but South Carolina doesn't offer the offense. So we don't know what to do because if they have any type of offense, it's an over game because the total is 48.5. You're going to get 40-something from A&M. So if it's 40-0, then you play A&M. If you think it's going to be 40-30, then it's an easy over. So again, we have to debate what to do here. How is A&M's defense against this running quarterback? Now, they did play good against Alabama, but that was at home. So we'll have to break South Carolina apart here. Arkansas goes to LSU. Bobby, are you not showing your face? You're embarrassed. Brian Kelly's out. Are you going to be the next coach? Maybe you and Ric Flair can do it. That would be funny. Bobby and Ric Flair, the coach of LSU. LSU 5.5, 57.5. This is up from 55.5. So the Sharps betting on the over. I don't know about that. Arkansas, an over team, 33 defense. LSU had a great defense against Alabama. They held them to 20. So that's your dilemma. If that defense shows up, maybe they hold Arkansas down. LSU, now they brought in Newsmom, got replaced by the running quarterback. He got sacked twice and fumbled because he's not used to throwing the ball. So that's their problem. He should do well against Arkansas. Are they more of an over team with this coach? But the defense played well, but that was against Alabama. Are they going to play the same against Arkansas? They are at home. It's a 12:45 game. What kind of time is that? So we'll see. Out of these early games, I don't know why. North Texas UAB. I love our North Texas team. North Texas is laying 17 and a half from 18 and a half. The sharps betting on UAB, they must be out of their minds. Total 69 and a half, which is unreachable. UAB is an over team, kind of, with the 37 defense, but really they're not. The last few games, they're not scoring. North Texas just blows everybody out. Tremendous offense, 24 defense. I don't know. I can go. Actually, I got under circled for the 69 and a half because I don't think UAB is going to. Three of their games, they didn't get 20 points. So they must have beaten some Z teams pretty good. But this is not over. Let's go over. This is almost, I got maybe 70s, a little too high. And or do we take North Texas as they blow out everybody with this great offense they have? Marshall, Georgia State, that's our freebie. We got Marshall now 7.5, 63.5. Georgia State, the Z team with the 40 defense. Our lock last week, Coastal Carolina, beat them 40-27. Marshall, another over team with the 33 defense, very similar to Coastal Carolina. And they only are laying 1. So it's the same scenario. You got an over team laying 1, just win against the Z team. The only difference is this game's at Georgia State. Last week was at Coastal Carolina. And again, you just have to win by 1. Marshall has been playing good. We worry a little about the defense, but Georgia State, not much of an offense being a Z team. They scored 20 last week. The free play is based on Marshall putting up 40, right? And Georgia State not being able to score. They haven't. They're 1-8, Georgia State, so they don't win the games. They've played some close ones, but we don't care. We're just laying 1. Let's see. South Alabama, Lou Monroe. I looked at it. Lou Monroe, a Z team with the 33, but South Alabama is an even team with the 30. I didn't get too excited on this one. They're only 2-7. We don't know that they can win that well against Lou Monroe. So that's really the issue there. UCF, Texas Tech. Oh, Texas Tech, what a great team they are. 24, 48.5. E-team UCF, 26. I changed their defense to 26 because that's what it is the last 5 games when they played better teams. Texas Tech, an A team with the 12. They beat BYU. Will they be flat? I don't see that. They're number 6. They're really number 2 to me. Ohio State, Texas Tech. Indiana is not a top 5 team. So I think Texas Tech's gold here. All right. Sorry, that was Dave. She's at work. Again, it's Russia time, so it's 7 p.m. there. All right. Oklahoma, Alabama 6 and 45.5. Oklahoma, a B team, but I changed their 14 defense to a 22 defense. Because when you take out the Z team in the high school game, and you look at the Ole Miss game, the Tennessee game, and the Texas game, they're not a 14 defense. They're a 22 defense. Texas got 23 on them, and Tennessee and Ole Miss put up 30 on them. So they can be had by a good quarterback. Alabama's got a good quarterback. Alabama an 18 with the 17 defense. Now, they're coming off of the big game with LSU, which is a huge game for them. That's a big rivalry. However, the game's at home, and this is revenge. Oklahoma knocked them out of the playoff last year by beating them somehow at Oklahoma. Now, Lane Kiffin warned them that they steal signs. Now, supposedly they do it legally, which I don't understand the difference between what Michigan did, which is illegal, and how a team could legally steal signs. But he warned them they steal signs. They know when you're cutting across the middle, or they know your patterns based on the signs. So they said they can look all they want. They're not going to see the same signs. So Alabama's prepared for Oklahoma to steal signs, which is why they've had this good defense. It's revenge game. I don't know. I like Alabama in this game. Something just tells me they have to win, and they're at home, and it's revenge. And Oklahoma, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, they beat Tennessee last week, but Ole Miss got them. Texas got them. And Alabama's playing pretty well. I mean, they beat a good LSU team. It was a little closer. Ty Simpson had some bad fumbles last week, but I don't think we'll see that. Iowa, USC 6.5, 48.5. Iowa, the B team, 13 defense, and that's a real 13. They held Oregon to 18. You got a real defense. USC an 18 with the 21. Now, they had trouble with Notre Dame, but Iowa doesn't give them the same problem. Their quarterback's decent, but not great. They can run the ball fairly good. USC at home is different than USC on the road. USC on the road lost to Notre Dame. USC at home beat Michigan. And I look at this as just like the Michigan game. Michigan runs, plays a good defense. Iowa runs, plays a good defense. Michigan's defense is a 17, and Iowa's is a 13. So, again, USC needs to throw to have a chance. But Iowa at home and Iowa on the road are apples and oranges, sort of like Washington. Oregon's usually okay on the road. USC's, struggling again. But Iowa has to make the flight out, which is key here. So I think this is the home cooking USC. It's tough. It's a half. Do we go under? I thought about that too. Iowa's defense will make it difficult for SC. And Iowa doesn't score. SC's defense is getting a little better. I looked at the Michigan game. It was like 31-14. It was like a 45. So you might go under. Again, it's do I take USC, who scores a lot, or do I take Iowa with the great defense? That's the dilemma we run into. But probably USC, probably under. I can't see going over with Iowa, but they have played some high-scoring games. San Jose State, Nevada. Again, San Jose State, Nevada, the Z team. San Jose State, 8.5, 52.5, down to 49.5. Well. San Jose State, to me, is an over team the last 4 or 5 weeks. 30 defense. Nevada, a Z team with the 30 defense. They don't score at all. They don't even get 200 yards a game. San Jose State, we lost with Air Force last week because Air Force ran the ball. Well, Nevada doesn't run the ball. Not nearly what that. San Jose State's weird. They get a lot of yards. They get like 300 yards passing a game. But they're 3-6. So I don't know. Nevada 1-8. Again, I'm contemplating San Jose State being a high-scoring team, just outscoring Nevada, who doesn't score. 49.5's gone down from 51.5. You can't really bet Nevada over. They don't have an offense. So I think it's another San Jose State play there. Penn State goes to Michigan State. Penn State 748. Now all of a sudden Penn State's favored. Michigan State's an over team. 31 defense. Penn State's an E with the 22. They're looking okay with the new quarterback, better than Allard. The defense is 22. Did hold Indiana pretty much. Michigan State, pretty decent offense. Against Michigan, they had struggled, and a 31 defense. So I don't know. Penn State's lost 6 games in a row. I'm not jumping on them. Michigan State, maybe it's an over 48.5, 42. Don't need a lot there. It's a tough game because we don't know who Penn State is right now. NC State, Miami. Miami is 15.5, 55, up from 14.5. NC State's an over team with a 30. They played a high scoring game with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's a 23 defense. Miami's a 15. They're an 18, 15 defense. 15.55. Do we go over with NC State scoring a lot of points and can't stop the wind? Maybe that's the route here. Certain teams you just bet over or unders on. Iowa, normally an under team. Wisconsin. Georgia Tech, 16.5, 58.5. Georgia Tech, the B team, 23 defense. BC, a W with 34 defense, 1-9. Georgia Tech wins it. The question is, do they win it by how much and what's with the 58 total? BC has scored some, but they're not. I think teams have figured them out. Virginia, Duke, still checking on the quarterback. They believe he'll play. Not official, but it's 458. Duke was 5.5 down to 4, so it looks like he is playing. The total at 58. If he plays, then this is a huge over because Duke just scores. They're an over team. Virginia with the quarterback will score on Duke. 58 is 52 is 28-24. Yeah, this is a 35-30 game easily, probably higher. So if we get the Virginia quarterback playing, then yeah, let's see the points. Texas State, Southern Miss, a very good game. Southern Miss 3.5, 65.5. Do you like how I'm just doing the big games, right? And then I look at them, I go, yeah, that's a big game. Yeah. 3.5, 65.5. Texas State, an over team with the 34 defense. Southern Miss, very good team this year. The Marshall team, good quarterback. He's got like 20 touchdowns, 2 picks. Southern Miss, a B team, 24 defense. You don't have a lot of great teams. Texas State should light them up pretty good. Southern Miss should light them up pretty good. 65 over. We got to see. But Texas State hasn't been, it's like UTSA. They're not 50-point teams like they were last year. So I got to study if we want to go over. Southern Miss definitely scores and has a quarterback, but they might run a little bit too. Let's see. Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky. Why do I stop here? Because Middle Tennessee is a Z team. Western Kentucky 13, 55.5, 13.5, 55.5. Middle Tennessee is Z team with the 32 defense. Western Kentucky, a B team with the 22. Pretty good offensively. The guy from Abilene Christian has been lighting it up a little. They are 7-2. They need the game. Middle Tennessee 1-8. Probably played another Z team. Probably played UMass, right? 56, 13.5. You think Western Kentucky blows them out here? Maryland and Illinois, another big game for us. Illinois 14.5, 52.5. Maryland an 18, 23. Have a good quarterback sometimes. Little inconsistent. Illinois an over team. Luke Altmaier, very good quarterback. 25 defense. The question is, how good does Maryland play? Do we take Illinois? Do we take the over? And that's why I get the money. Memphis, East Car, very good game. This is A teams. East Car, 2.5, 59.5. Both A teams, 21 defense. Memphis, 17 for East Carolina. The game's at East Carolina. This should be a good game, a close game. Total 59. Doesn't look like, I mean, again, you got good defense. Memphis scores pretty good. East Car beat up on our Charlotte, our Z team last week. So we'll see about that. Let's see. Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern. Got to keep our eye on Coastal Carolina, our favorite friend now. Georgia Southern, 2.5, 59.5. Coastal Carolina, an over team, 28 defense, as we discovered last week. They put up 40. Probably 4 of the last 5 games, they put up 40. That's why you look at the last 5. Georgia Southern over team with the 34 defense. They score a lot. And again, I'm torn between taking Coastal as a dog and playing the game over. I'll have to figure. But Georgia Southern does score more than Georgia State. So it's not a Z team. So we're not as apt to take Coastal Carolina because Georgia Southern is an over team and can score a lot. And then if Coastal Carolina scores a lot, then it becomes an over, and it's 59, which isn't bad. All right, Utah and Baylor. Utah 7.5, 59.5. 59. Utah, great team, great quarterback, great defense. 18, 14 defense. Baylor, always over 29 defense. They're going to have a hard time with this Utah defense, although Sawyer Robertson, very good quarterback. Probably 2 or 3 behind Daggio, Dampier on Utah here, Sawyer Robertson, kid at A&M, Reed. So you got 4 or 5 really good ones. So I can't imagine them just shutting them down. But they're going to have struggle with Dampier. So I don't know. 59, 53, 28, 25. Yeah, I can't imagine Utah not getting in the 30s. The question's Baylor. And then the question is, do I want to take Utah -1 or, again, go over? Hard to go under in a Baylor game. But this is where you got to be careful. 14 defense. This is not where I really want to bet Baylor over. We'll see. Florida and Ole Miss. Ole Miss 14.5, 53.5. Down from 15.5. Money going on the Gators. They have a new coach. Florida has a new coach. LSU has a new coach. I mean, it's crazy. Florida an under team, 22 defense. Ole Miss an A team with the 19 defense. What you going to do? Now, Ole Miss, normally an over team. They have a decent defense. They played Oklahoma over, and I think they played Texas over. Florida with the 22 defense. I'll have to check if they're starting to score or not. So if they're not, we can take Mississippi because we don't know what's going to go on with the over-under. But Ole Miss played Oklahoma like a 60-point game. And I think they played Texas also, or Ole Miss. No, they played Georgia, a very high-scoring game. So they should score a lot on Florida here. They're 9-1. They have to win. Florida, okay, but Florida at home and Florida at Old Mississippi, 2 different apples. Purdue goes to Washington. Washington 16.5, 51.5. The line's down from 54. You got Washington off of a loss to Wisconsin. They're 6-3. Purdue an even team with the 27 defense. Washington an A with the 20. Purdue had a big game with Ohio State. I told you they'd play well, which they did. Now they got to travel to Washington, who's pissed off after loss. I like Washington here. Utah State, Vegas. This is over and over, but the line is 70 if you want to go over. Utah State an over team 29, UNLV an over with the 31. So again, do you get to 71? So at first it looks like a big number. The game will probably end in the 90s, and you go, I should have taken it. But it's a tough number to go over with 71 down to 65. It's really difficult. Delaware against Sam Houston. And again, we've got the over against the Z team. Delaware, 9.5, 56.5. Delaware, an over team, 31 defense. Sam Houston, the terrible team. They're up there with UMass, a Z with a 38. Delaware shouldn't have a problem covering 2.5, 3, but we'll see. The creme de la creme, Texas and Georgia. Georgia 6.5, 48.5. Texas B team with a 16 defense, I think. However, they were just lit up by who just lit them up? We'll have to go in. Oh yeah, Old Mississippi State lit them up. My old Mississippi State team. They're starting to score more. Georgia's been lit up twice by Ole Miss and by Tennessee. Somehow they scored and won the games. Like Georgia, you don't think has an offense, and then they get one. 6.5, 48.5. Where is it? I don't know. I actually think I like the total in this game. 47.5. You got Texas. I don't think they're a 16 team now. Georgia, I don't think it's a 19 team. Again, it takes into the first few weeks. So if you go last 5, I'll recalculate it, which is why I recalculate it. You're misled here. You think Texas is a 16, but wait a minute. Mississippi State put up 35 on them. And that was at Texas. No, I think it was at Ole Miss. So how can they be a 16 defense? Georgia, how can they be a 19 when they play good passers? Ole Miss and Tennessee, they gave up 40 points. They don't have my 7 Georgia defense. The only one with that defense is Ohio State this year. So 16 and 19 is probably more like a 22 and a 22. So I think this is a total game. I don't know if Georgia -6, they're going to hold Texas. And last week, Georgia against Old Mississippi State, we had it over and it went over. It was 62. I think we needed 51. So it was 41-21. So they're scoring and they're giving up 21 to the backup on Old Mississippi State. So those are my bitches this year: Old Mississippi State and Georgia Tech and Duke. You always find those teams: San Jose State, Coastal Carolina, out of nowhere, Coastal Carolina, North Texas. That's why we look at each conference, because there's always the hidden gems there. Okay. Ohio State, 31.5, 47.5 to UCLA. UCLA got a spark by the new offensive coordinator. The guy with the blonde mop on his head. But against Indiana, they lost like 53-0 or 53-3. They're going to have trouble. 31's a big number against UCLA. UCLA probably gets 7. Ohio State probably wins 40-7. Total 48.5 is right about there. Normally, the 7 defense, we're going to go under in the game. UCLA, can they score? Well, I mean, they've showed some strength. Against Nebraska, they were down 28-7 and made it 28-21. But even with that, 28-21 in Nebraska, you can go under 54.5. So I just think Ohio State with the 7 shuts them down. UCLA, I think, has enough defense to kind of quiet them down. At 31, UCLA is not that bad. I'm tempted to UCLA in 37, as they can score a little, but they have, They didn't get blown out by Nebraska. They beat Penn State. They beat Maryland. They beat Michigan State. It's not like they're terrible. Just Indiana got them. Otherwise, they played well the last 5 games since the guy's been the offensive coordinator. I honestly think UCLA is too many points. They're a very I would not take Ohio State minus 25 here as much as I would take UCLA in 37. Now, with that said, I probably will go total, but UCLA is not they're not a Z team. I mean, Jesus. And this is where Vegas gets it wrong. They look at the whole year. But you've got to change because the offensive coordinator has changed the variable. They are not the same team that sucked in the beginning of the year. Look at from Penn State on, they played pretty well, except for the Indiana game. So this is very live dog here, I think, 37. Old Mississippi State and Missouri. Again, we got to check the quarterback, Blake Shapen. Let's go in and see if they give us an update. 7-51.5. The line hasn't moved. Jeff Levy discusses Blake Shapen's injury. Bo Perella injury update. Missouri football quarterback not officially out for Mississippi State. The guy broke his ankle and he's not out. Blake Shapen on Mississippi State football versus Missouri injury report. Well, let's look at this. Blake Shapen's listed as probable on Week 12 injury report. Okay. If Shapen can't play, freshman Taylor is expected to be starting. Shapen did not practice on November 10th. That was a couple days ago, which I didn't expect. Also on the injury report is starting safety Isaac Smith, who's out. Okay. Bo Pribilla for Missouri is doubtful. He's not out, but he's doubtful. I can't imagine him playing. We'll wait one more day on this bet. Mississippi State defensive lineman out, O lineman out, safety out, cornerback out, O lineman out. So they got 2 linemen out, D lineman and cornerback, but the quarterback, and that's what we're looking at, is more the quarterback. So if he's probable, and I know Pribula's got to be out. So now we like old Mississippi State. There's a very live dog here. Missouri's 7, but you don't have your quarterback. Mississippi State, who's lighting everybody up. All right, they lost to Georgia 41-21. They played Texas to overtime. They played. There was a couple other games. They've been really scoring a lot, right? Blake Shapen from Baylor or Texas Tech, one of the two, transferred in, was hurt. Now he's playing. He's playing very well. Total of 51.5. I got to make sure I got the right total. Missouri they're an E team with the 19. Mississippi State's an over with the 26. As long as Shapen plays, which he's probable, I think they're a very live dog here. Old Mississippi State can score, and Missouri basically not going to score that much. Let's check the last 5 the last couple Mississippi State games, or Missouri. They lost A&M 38-17, and the guy got hurt, and the Vanderbilt lost 17-10. So you can't really go back before then because he was playing. So now you got the backup. They got 17 on A&M. So A&M kills them 38-17. Mississippi State, okay, they lose to Georgia. They beat Arkansas 38-35, our lock. They lost to Texas in overtime 45-38, lost to Florida 23-21, and got hammered by A&M 31-9. Join the club. So, played well against Texas, played well at Florida. And, Georgia, they lost by 20. The quarterback gets hurt. Arkansas, they win on the road. So they can win on the road. Missouri, 10 on Vandy, 17 on A&M. They beat UMass 42-6. So it becomes Mississippi State scoring a lot. So they should be able to score Missouri. Missouri, good defensive team. They held Daggio to 17. And then A&M got them. So without their quarterback, I think Mississippi State can get the win or play close because they played Florida close at Florida, and Texas they took to overtime. And that's where I'm questioning Texas's defense. Old Mississippi State lit them up for 35 points. So Georgia should be able to score on them as Texas should score on Georgia. So we'll see. But it looks like this should be a Mississippi State play, getting 13 for a team without their quarterback. TCU, BYU 3.5, 50.5, down from 4.5. I don't know what to do in this game. I love TCU, but they're not playing well. 3.5, and I don't want to fuck with BYU. TCU is a B team, 24 defense. BYU an A with an 18. They beat Utah. And then they had big trouble at Texas Tech, who seems to be probably number 2 in the country. Great defense, Texas Tech, and a very good quarterback. Very, very complete team, Texas Tech. So, okay, BYU lost to them, beat Utah. They're at home. After the loss, they should play well. TCU, they lost to Iowa State last week, which is curious. So I don't know if TCU's all that. I think BYU probably gets the win here. This is not an even game. This is BYU probably should be 7. And that's it. So there you have it. Let's quickly check our gold. Gold 42.04, silver 52.87. So gold's now pretty comfortably in the 42s. It did drop to 41.92 at 10 o'clock. What else is new? It was 42.38. So we're seeing it over the 42s, and we're seeing silver comfortably in the 53s. So that's really good news. So your free pick here is Marshall, -1 to the Z team, Georgia State. And the free pick in the pros is Baltimore, 7.5 to Cleveland. They must win. Lamar missed practice yesterday, but I don't think it was anything terrible. Probably just gave him the day off. 11-2 is a road favorite. They are playing Cleveland in the division. So everybody's used to everybody. But Cleveland, with Flacco, maybe I got to worry. With Dylan Gabriel, I'm not too worried about it. But I just think that's it. So that's your free play. So Baltimore and that. Locks, I could see 3 or 4 college locks that I ran through as I was talking. And definitely a couple of pro locks. There and there and there. And that's a good one. And that one's not a lock. And that one, maybe. So, yeah, there's a lot of strong games I have. So you got to realize handicapping, you're trying to predict what you think the outcome will be. And again, a lot of it is the refs are out of our control. We can't control the fixes and the refs. All we can do is watch the line movement, because the fix gets out, people understand it, right? They can't keep their mouth shut. So you'll see the line move. and that's your indication there's a fix on. But if it moves too much, then I don't know what it is. It just seems like, wait a minute, it moved 3, 4 points. Those don't win. But if it moves like a point or two, like Ohio State, Penn State, the over started to move, which I thought was crazy. It's Ohio State. And then it did go over. We lost by a point. And you kind of keep your eye on if the line's moving, that's the information to tell you if the game's fixed or if it seems weird. When you see a weird line, like we see with, let's see, well, I don't know if you see something acting funny, like A&M's 19.5 to South Carolina. So if A&M all of a sudden went down to 16.5, we'd be like, who in the world's betting South Carolina? Or Texas Tech, UCF, Texas Tech 24, 48.5. If all of a sudden it's 50.5 with this defense, you got to, like, why would it be going up? That's the alarm bells that you look at. And then me being creative, look at like Alabama, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma does not have a 14 defense. They had a 22, and the total is 45. Well, that seems low. But if the total were to go to like 42, I'd really go, like, what the fuck? However, it goes to 47, I would expect that. That's why I bet the games early is to get, I know what I'm going to do. I verify the injuries, and then it's a matter of that. So that's your college. Today, I'm not doing anything with Troy and Old D. Let's handicap it. Let's have some fun. It's amazing. Gold's 42, and we're 4,200, and we're like, when's it going to go up? Come on, boy. When's it going up? All right, so let's look at the last 5 on tonight's Troy Old D game. So we've got Troy and E team with the 24 defense. They score about 24. They give up 24. Old D's a B team, so they score like 29, give up 23. So it's pretty even game. Old D, 10.5 point favorite, 52.5 total. How can we pick this game? So we look at the quarterbacks. Kilcrease for who the hell is the red team? Joseph. Joseph must be Old D. So Kilcrease is the Troy quarterback. No wonder I never heard of him. Troy gets 27 points a game, and Old D gets 31. More of a passing team, Troy, 200 yards to 120 running, where here's where you get Old D, 250 passing and 200 rushing, a very balanced team. Well, let's go last 5. Troy, they've won 4 out of the last 5. They beat South Alabama 31-24, who's not that good. Texas State 48-41. There you go. Lou Monroe, the Z team, 37-14. Lou Lafayette, pretty good team, 35-23. And Arkansas State, they lost 23-10. They didn't score. So they scored 30, 40, 30, 30, and then 10 to Arkansas State, who does not have a wonderful defense. Where is Arkansas State? Probably a team I skipped. Yeah, I'm not seeing them. I wanted to see, what they're doing. Let's see if we got them last week. Well, they have to be here. They do play once in a while. Oh, here they are. They're a 26 defense. So they held them to 10. So you got to wonder about Troy. Old Dominion beats Coastal Carolina 47-7. Before, this was Coastal's only game where they didn't put up a 40. They lose to Marshall 48-24. So we got to like that for our Marshall play. They lose to James Madison, who's the A team, 63-27. They beat App State 24-21, and then they beat the Z team, Lou Monroe, 31-6. We've seen some pretty big losses by Oldie on the road at Marshall and James Madison, putting up huge numbers. They still scored 20, so they've scored 47, 24, 27, 24, 31. So a 50, 100, 150. So they're scoring about 30 a game, and they're giving up 2 games 111, and then 2 games they gave up 6 and 7. So in a 21, this is the problem. They're so inconsistent. How do you take an average? They said a 6 and a 7 and a 63 and a 48. I mean, that's the problem. So old D. So yeah, you think they're 23 defense. Sometimes it's 23. So what do you think Troy will do? Putting up 30s and 40s and then a 10 last week. So what happened? So it's very hard to predict because they're all over the place. I would think an over 52 and a half. You've got Troy getting into the 30s, 4 out of 5 games, giving up a 40 and 20s in 4 out of the 5 games. The only game didn't was Lou Monroe, who's the Z team, got 14 on him. Old D 40 and into the 20s and the 30s. So they're going to score upper 20s. They gave up a 48 and a 63, and then they gave up a 7 to Coastal Carolina and a 6 to Lou Monroe. So who cares? And a 21. So this should be a high scoring game, and this should go over 52 and a half. I am not going to play it, but I'm going to mark it as an over for class, and we'll see how I do tomorrow. But that's the art of it. See, here's Troy, and you got 31, 48, 37, 35. We don't know what happened here. Was there an injury? But we see that. So let's check. Is there an injury to this Kill Grease guy, the quarterback? No, I don't know. There used to be a place when it would show injuries. But I'm not seeing it here. We'll check for the Troy injuries. Oh, tired. So that's what we got. So that's college football. We're basically, this is the team. Oh, the quarterback got hurt. Now what's the team? Penn State, Missouri. Who are they with the backup quarterback? And that's the thing. Now, we got Georgia's and we got Texas A&M's quarterback and Texas Tech's quarterback. Even Texas Tech, when they had the injury, they lost to Arizona State. Quarterback's back. They ain't losing to anybody. They'll give Ohio State. We're going to bet that game under if they play Ohio State because you got a 7 defense and a 10 defense, and you're not going to get points. Ohio State's not scoring on Texas Tech. BYU scored a lot, and they got just killed, and Utah scores a lot, and they got killed, but the quarterback got injured. But, okay, Arizona was able to score on them because of Sam Leavitt, who I don't know if he's playing or not. Seems like he is. They're laying 11 and a half at home. So you've got to watch the court. So that's the problem. Is anybody, Virginia's quarterback looks like he's playing. Miami, NC State. Any injuries? Who knows? We can look on them, but we don't know. And then you get the Navy Notre Dame bullshit from last week. Yeah, the Navy quarterback an hour before the game's not playing. Oh, well, thanks for all the notice, but my bet was in on Tuesday. No, I didn't bet the game, but I saw the line move. And so be careful. The line will tell you everything. The line will tell you the fix, because if something starts moving that doesn't make sense, that's the fix. Although sometimes it's a reverse fix. Like I said, a team goes from 7 to 11, and then they lose the game. So you can only fix it so much, because you can't fix all the players. You can only fix the ref. And you can only call interference so many times. So sometimes the fix is in and doesn't work. But we'll see. Anyway, that's what we have. So I showed you, like, okay, the gold tax. If you got Eagles, there's no tax on it. You can sell your Eagles. You don't pay tax. You're not going to get 1099. So again, I don't quite get this commodity stuff. I don't get that you got to pay tax on it. You only pay tax on 1099 unless you're actually in the gold business. So the guy with the gold store pays tax on buying and selling it. But if me and you go into the gold store and give him 5 ounces of gold and he gives us $20,000 or $16,000, that's fine. That's what we do. And but we're not going to get a 1099, so we don't owe taxes on it. Are you going to pay tax on everything? So I went and made $1,000 in poker. Am I going to pay tax on that? Am I going to put it on my tax return? Yeah, gambling. Yeah, I got hot. I flopped a set and beat pocket aces. So yeah, I guess I got to pay tax on it. Nobody in their right mind's paying tax on it. And as far as depositing the money in the bank, you do not want to deposit your money in the bank. You'll never get it out, and it won't have a value, and you really don't want to hold it that long. I have money in my safe that I really, I'm getting close to either buying gold but I don't want to put it in the bank. That's the last thing. I have my Social Security money in the bank. That's it. And that goes and pays rent. And I just paid rent, so I'm okay till next month. And but that's it. I don't want to. I'm not looking to do anything else. But I don't want, the last thing I would put is $50,000 into the bank. Yeah, I don't think so. Even if you get the money for it, I would leave it in the safe. Why do you put it in the bank? What is the point of putting it in the bank? Showing that you have money in the bank? Why would you know? So if you're going to move into a house or an apartment, like if I was going to move to an apartment, to a different apartment, I would, I still wouldn't put a lot of money in. I'd have a little bit of money. Potential spam. I don't answer that. So you might put a little bit of money to show you have money in the bank, but I think, so you're basically retired, and then you get Social Security. And so how do you go into an apartment? You're not going to get 3 times rent with it, but you do have pension or gold in our case. As I got money, I have plenty of money for your rent, and then I never missed a rent payment here. So I think their concern is, are you going to be able to pay rent? Simple as that. Well, they don't even know that their dollar isn't worth anything. Even if I can, I'm not going to be able to, because how am I going to pay you? There won't be dollars. And so that's the key to that. But if you're not getting 1099, you don't owe taxes. I mean, if you want to pay a tax on gold without a 1099, you're out of your mind. Yeah. Tax evasion and go to jail. No, that's you're I don't know where you're living in, but I wouldn't volunteer to pay tax and everything. So anyway, that's what's going on. That's our football. So now I keep narrowing it down. I'm looking at injuries. Maybe is there a tornado or a hurricane or something? Although I think we're out of hurricane season now. We have a pretty good idea what we have. We go to the last 5, not the whole year, because in there, if it's a week, or if it's like Coastal Carolina, maybe they played Alabama and they got shut out, it's skewing their totals. Or maybe they played Bill and Mary, and they same thing where they won by 80 points. Okay, let's throw those out. So that's why you go to the last 5, and that's how they're playing. And you look at Penn State. Okay, the new quarterback played Ohio State now, played Indiana now. Now we'll see what's real here. And you get a better feel of the quarterback and the coach, and coaches being fired at Hugh Freeze, at Auburn, at the coach at who's the other coach? Well, the Auburn coach, I don't know. In the pros, you got the Giants coach getting fired. Now that one I got to really laugh at. The Giants coach gets fired, and the new coach comes in and puts Winston in. Are you out of your mind? Winston's terrible. You have Russell Wilson. So maybe he doesn't like Russell Wilson, but that's a joke. So anyway, keep an eye on the quarterbacks and the pros, who's playing, who isn't. I try to give you that like Sunday morning, although we got this London game, which really fucks everybody up. I mean, it's another game to bet. It's another, nobody's waking up to watch. I don't wake up to watch it. I wake up to teach. But anyway, I think that's it. So again, Egon, in the other video, there's Egon saying how everything's disaster. We're broke because of the debt. You cannot have 38 trillion in debt, and all the countries have this huge debt, and all the countries have this dollar not backed by anything, and that makes it worthless. And if it's worthless, you want to be in gold. So I don't know. This might be the only person we talked to yesterday who isn't happy he's in gold, because he's worried about taxes that he doesn't have to pay. It just blows my mind that people don't know, or they ask their financial planner, or, hey, do I have to pay tax on gold? Well, not if you don't get a 1099, you're not paying tax. I hate to break it to you. That's the key, that the government knows you got income. You will get taxed in Bitcoin. But if you take in an ounce or two of gold, especially Eagles, you're not going to get tax. You're not going to get 1099. You have no tax to pay. Think, McFly, think. So I don't know. Just strange. Like I said, if I win in poker $5,000, I'm not paying tax on it. Now, if I win a big tournament and I win $500,000, then I expect to pay. Then I'm going to get a 1099. But that's the trigger. If I just go to MGM now and go win 1,000, there's no tax. There's no 1099. You just walk out. They don't know what you started with, so they don't know if you won 1,000 or not, because there's no starting point. You give the girl money and she gives it, you don't know if it's 100 or 500. Then you cast 1,000. Well, you might have won 500. They can't 1099 you for 1,000. That's why they don't do it. And that's why people gamble. And that's why everybody bets football, because there's no tax on it. So anyway, don't start making up make-believes. I got to pay tax, without researching it, without realizing you don't have to, and understanding the limit. So the limits on gold is 24 ounces for Krugerrands and maple. So if you sell 24 or less, there's no 1099. For Eagles, Philharmonics, or those Buffaloes, there is no tax on it. You don't get 1099. And if you don't get 1099, then that's it. So what do so there's no tax. Anyway, you want to pay tax, go ahead, but you don't have to if you don't get a 1099. Like I said, the only reason you pay tax on your income is you get W-2'd. So they send you a W-2, and this is how much you made, and it goes to the government, so they know how much you made. But without the W-2, if you don't get W-2, they don't know what you made. So, yeah, if you're worried about tax fraud and tax evasion, I don't know what you're talking about. That does not apply to selling 10 ounces of gold. You don't owe tax on it. Anyway, only a 1099, and only if it's 24 or more than 24 Krugerrands or maples. Silver, it's 1,000 ounces. So maybe you take 50 ounces and you're not going to get 1099. You don't get 1099, there's no tax. And you're not taking the money and putting it in the bank. put it in your safe. And if you need to, you take some money, and then if you're paying a bill or a trip, then you do that. All right, that's it. So that's football. That's your little tax on gold, which there isn't any. And that's it. So anything else? Everybody's gone. All right. www.teaserking.com. Have a great day, everybody. So tonight I have no play at this point. New England and the Jets. I don't know. All right. Take care, everybody. www.teaserking.com. 500 for the rest of the year. And then I usually have bowls. And then I'll have like $100 just for the playoffs. You get 4 weeks. But right now, if you want to buy the rest of the year, it's 500. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.